On the home, you freaking thing of the brick. This ding dang dumbit thing. Oh. Okay, let's see. Does this thing work yet? What up, really cool edits? Give me 1 second, brother. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. I'm still setting the stream up here. I forgot to turn on my server. And it's reconnecting here. Boom. Boom. Maybe. We'll see. Okay. All right. How you doing, brother? Welcome, 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 welcome. What up, cat? Hey, I'm not hanging around. I just came in to say hi. You'll probably see me later tonight, though. All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, well, this might go. Who knows? I might stop, might keep going. I might keep going. Hey, nice to meet you. Okay. Oh, let's see if we can do this. Let's see if we can do this. Irks my nerves. See if I can get it going now. There. No, it's not it either. Oh, now the air conditioner popped on. What up, Catsby? No, how does it not find any freaking wackadoo? Hello? Man. One of these days, I'm going to get it sorted out. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. There it goes. Jeez. There we go. Now we're in. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Let's see what celebrations are going on around the United States of America. Okay. I don't have any fireworks. No. I'm broke, but my community usually lights off fireworks, and it's only 3 o'clock, 3:20 here, so probably a couple hours, probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock ish. Well, we'll take a remote cam, go outside, and see them when they start lighting them off. Today I was listening to Born in the USA. I was born USA. I was at the Mount Remember America. So maybe it was Providence. What up, Lord Alcatraz? Happy 4th of July, brother. Yep, we'll do it 98. Okay, let's see. Let me get myself set up here. Live fireworks now. Let's see. I don't know what this is. Let's see. 4th of July parade, New York City. Oh, do we want to see the freaking jets and stuff? Or is there any live streams going on? All right, let's see what we got here. I got nothing going on. All right, let's go to whitehouse.gov. Lord Alcatraz. People are shooting off fireworks like it's day. Yeah. I haven't heard any down here in Georgia yet. What's up, Cinta? Welcome from Indonesia. SHX, hello, ma'am. I'm ma'am. Call me ma'am. Why do I think is my delusion? I don't know. Americans love their country way more than us Indians. I mean, a lot of times you can't tell from social media and mass media, but no, absolutely. There's America's got the most patriotic. I mean, and look, how many people are trying to get from every other country to America? How many, and then from America to any other country? Everybody's trying to get to America, and there's reasons for that. Now, some people don't like spots and parts of history, and they say that America should be restructured because of something that happened 100 years ago or more. And but they that means they disregard anything that's been done since then. But no, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, there's a reason we have such an issue with people trying to get into America. That because we got air conditioning for the hot, we got food for the hungry, school for the unknowledged. Greatest country ever. Greatest country ever. All right, let's see. Let's see what we got here.
A republic entrusted to its people.
Entrusted to its people.
An idea that changed the world. A nation worth preserving.
What up, Georgie?
A dream worth pursuing. Freedom defended by every generation.
Iwo Jima. Happy, happy. Yay.
The story
America's
continues.
Words from its mistakes and to correct them.
With this dawn.
That's right. Every country has had its evils, and it took the brothers of those evils to destroy the good brothers of that destroyed those evils, their own brothers, families, to stop worldwide problems and local problems and whatnot. And that gets all cashed aside when it gets pushed aside and just said, well, anyway, you need to pay this for that, blah, blah, blah. And it's obvious now that the politicians and the local groups just want, they know that they can pay themselves $300,000, $500,000, $800,000 a year to run a nonprofit to try to pay for the old evils of America. The problem is, no one, the people that are actually affected by it should gather themselves and do it. It shouldn't have anything to do with politics, but they always try to make it a part of politics because people who can be easily controlled by their emotions aren't truly free. If someone can say a word or a phrase to you and make you lose all sensibilities, you're not free. And that needs to be changed. That needs to be changed. We should spend more time with the people we have here before we expand the population here. 100%. The people that are here, we need to spend more time with, letting them know, because you have people that have plans. They and they're evil plans. They want to profit off of other people's pain by digging the knife in, dumping salt in the wounds, and saying, this is because of what Americans did 300,000 years ago. And that causes problems, and that causes upset. And then you start adding more and more and more people on it says, well, three decades ago or 100 years ago, America did something in that country. Great. Are any of those politicians still alive? And they try to blame it on the people when we know damn well that it was a certain small sector of the government that did those things, and a lot of those were like CIA and stuff like that. So they weren't even elected officials. People that wanted to try to cause problems to collect the money to fix the problems that they caused. What's up, Catsby? Detroit and Windsor used to have an amazing show over the river.
The next chapter begins.
Oh. President Donald Trump. Okay, well, I thought it was going to be longer than that. What up, Papa Rompy? Ain't seen you in a while. Okay, so let's see. This is why immigration is a good thing done properly. You can't, when too many people immigrate into any country too quickly, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to gather into their own groups and segregate out, and then try to find their way to stay in those groups, and then that causes division. Ultimately, you've got to be able to have the time and the resources as you bring immigrants into a nation, and that's been lost by the Republicans and the Democrats, and now it's gone so far that it's damaged relationships irreparably. Still alive. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Okay, let's see what's next. All right, let's see what we got going on here. The UK, we have a new dictator installed called Andy Burnham. He was mayor of an Arabian.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 45th and 40th.
Listen, those politicians don't want to go to jail. They don't want to be held accountable. This is the problem when you make a deal with evil. You make a deal to try to either get political power or wealth. And even if it was 10 years ago and you thought it would be little, nobody would notice, you'd make $1 million here or there, and then, kinds go away. But then when it gets out of control, you have to keep lying and lying and lying and lying and lying and say, look over here, look over here, look over here. But it catches up. It catches up, and that's what's happening. American pride is incomparable. All the sacrifice people had to do not to fulfill their own personal interests, instead defending their own country to protect the freedom, right? And to increase freedoms for people that were here, and to give freedom to people that didn't have it. And that gets all lost aside. That gets all washed aside because somebody thinks they can get political power by twisting the knife in somebody. Happy 4th of July, TW. Lil Native Mama, I've already ate my way too much food. Me too. I'm already going to make another plate of love holiday food. Me too. Thank you, TW.
7th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
DJT. It's so interesting to see people still playing instruments. Everything's been digital for so long. He's like... pomp and circumstance. And it's so interesting how you have so many people.
Well, thank you very much to the men and women of the South Dakota Air National Guard and those beautiful F-35s. We love them, and I want to thank you all for being here. This is a big crowd. This is a lovely crowd, and what a sight it is. I want to thank Senate Majority Leader John Thune, a good friend of mine, and all of us. Senator Mike Rounds, great guy. Governor Larry
That's all right.
Roden,
I appreciate
thank you, Larry.
Swapping it. Thank you. Drop a like. And what?
Lieutenant Governor Van Huysen.
Whoa.
Oh, they're good. I was waiting for that.
A lot of people gave their lives to the American flag. Yeah, and people spit in the faces of it. People spit in the faces of it. They say, no, that's not enough. That's not enough. We want more. We want more. We want more. And a lot of people were just like, well, they're just children. They're just dumb. They just don't understand anything. They're children. They're very young-minded. But then after decades of that, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, God bless America, brother.
He said, you start speaking, they won't interrupt you at all. They didn't interrupt us at all. Thank you. They're fantastic. What great, incredible, talented pilots. Thank you very much. And Secretary Burgum, who's doing a phenomenal job. Governor Ron DeSantis. Thank you, Governor DeSantis. Where's Ron? Thank you, Ron. Distinguished guests and fellow citizens, tonight we gather on the eve of one of the most extraordinary days in the history of the world. Tomorrow we mark 250 years of glorious independence and 250 years of majestic American freedom. Nothing like it. In all the chronicles of the ages, never before has any nation celebrated so magnificent a triumph as this one, the one that we are participating in right now. At 250 years, America is the oldest republic on earth. We are the freest people on earth. We have the most righteous and enduring constitution on earth. We are the strongest and most powerful country on earth. And by the grace of God, the United States of America is the most successful, most accomplished, most exceptional nation ever to exist in human history. And it is great to be your president. It is great. For a quarter of a millennium, liberty, justice, equality, self-government, and unmatched prosperity have flourished here as they have never flourished anywhere before. There is nothing like what we are doing. The birth and survival of the American nation under God is quite simply the best and most incredible thing ever to happen on this planet by human hands ever. That is ever, ever, ever.
Yeah. Well,
no other country has done more good for this world.
What should we do? Lay down, lay down. Name. Just chill. Just do nothing. Don't prosper. What do you do? Just because Israel this, Iran that, whatever. What? I don't have any takings with Iran or Israel. I don't contact people like that at all. I got no idea what's going on with them. My life is going good. My family's life, my communities, everybody's going good. Whatever they're doing with Israel or Iran or whatever, they use our tax dollars to deal with those problems, so we don't have to. You just want to deal with those problems. Thank you, brother Jim. This big hairy ass Scotsman love the U.S. and Trump. Thank you, full send you, bam. Cheese, Obama for life. Yeah, it's almost like that. Leave them be. They start too many problems. Was it Iran attacking Israel? Iran was attacking everybody. Oh, there you go, Cheryl. Yeah, Middle East stays beefing like two. Right. And the thing is, it's like when you get into conversations and you start looking into what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Africa, it's always been war. Just because CNN or Fox doesn't report what's going on over there, and then one day they do, then it's like, oh my goodness, we must have started it. No, it's been going on for 1,000 years or more.
World than the United States of America. And we give thanks for these extraordinary blessings. We remember that what we have created in this country is not the natural way of the world. It is not the norm. It is the exception. It is rare. It is priceless, and it is truly miraculous.
Priceless.
Throughout the entire story of humanity, most people in most places have lived a life plagued by suffering, poverty, exploitation, violence, and misery. But here in America, in this land, on this continent, we have written a very different story. It's a tale of adventure, liberation, and unmatched greatness. It's the story of people governing themselves, the many uniting as one, the men and women rising by their own skill and talent to go further and reach higher than anyone has ever gone before. There has never been anything like this. The triumph of American independence was the result of the most extraordinary people in history, the most extraordinary culture in history, and the most extraordinary ideas in history, all creating the most extraordinary republic ever in history.
And the problem with our education system is we don't go back far enough. Most education in America today only goes back as far, especially when teaching slavery, is back as far as the North Atlantic slave trade. They don't go back a few hundred more years or 1,000 more years and let it be known, because they have financial reasons behind it. Vance, like Lincoln, went from poverty to hardship of the White House. Amazing country. God bless America. The torrid era, that is super hot era fries your brain. And this is something that's very interesting. You have the trust the science folk, and they won't trust the science that cooler environments and having an era, or having a time season throughout the year that your body cools down, winter they call it, and fall, that allows for planning ahead and developing a future. Because if you don't plan ahead and winter comes, you don't have food ready, you don't have warm, you don't have firewood, whatnot. You don't have to plan when it's always 78 degrees every day, all day every day, and spattering of rain. You never have to plan, and you never have to say you're sorry to people, because you could just yell at them, fight with them, and then leave, and it's still going to be 78 degrees and sunny, never cold. You never have to come back and be like, I'm sorry for what I did, please don't leave me out here, I got to be part of this community, or else I'll die during the winter. Let's not forget how Europeans 250 years ago murdered the Native Americans to claim the so-called land. All right, let's remember that. Torrid region, that's because Americans sponsor Jewish supremacist terrorists and drown all non-Jews around. You think? You think that's what happened? Historical accounts show that many indigenous tribes themselves continuously migrated. They did, absolutely. This is what I'm talking about. Miguel here he only knows as far back as he wants to know for the stories that he wants to tell. If you go back any further, if you go back throughout America before the settlers arrived here, that's what it was. It was war and slaughter, and as we're anywhere else. It doesn't need to justify it. It's history. You don't need what you want people that didn't make the decisions back then to justify those decisions. That's stupid. That's stupid. I saw something. It took them a very long time to make it over the Bering due to the American bear at the time picking them off. They murdered so many indigenous tribes. We had a severe cold period. Now, do you know if it's murder or was it war? Like Socrates and them guys wrote a torrid region way back, going back. Yeah. We actually saw some of that yesterday. Name a land over the centuries of millennia that was not conquered. Right. That's what humans do. You grow up, your community grows up, your tribe grows up until it bumps into another community. And then their community leaders and your community leaders have to decide which community is going to live, because they don't get along. And that happens everywhere. Little native mama. Rich, I have several lizards in your yard. How can I help them in this heat? Yeah, leave them alone. Yeah, they're cold-blooded. They're cold-blooded. Also, USA isn't a torrid region. All right. Happy 4th of July, Mr. Blooper. Oops.
It all came together for the miracle of July 4th, 1776. That was a big year. 250 years ago tomorrow, what a big day that is. I consider this a big day because I'm with you. I like that too. And by the way, we won big here. We won really big. Each and every time.
Right.
But 250 years ago tomorrow, the words of our Declaration of Independence sent an earthquake through all of the coming time. They sparked a revolution that has never ended, but still continues to this day. And tonight we come to this beautiful mountain, and it is beautiful, to express our gratitude to those who made it possible, starting with the 4 men most responsible for reaching this milestone more than any others. We salute the father of our country, George Washington.
George Washington. America's
the
first
author
country
of
to
the
flip the
Declaration
of
of Independence,
people,
Thomas Jefferson.
And to allow religious freedoms. And after winning the wars against the natives, they didn't get slaughtered. They didn't get slaughtered. We didn't treat our losers the same way as they treated us. They did not leave man, woman, or child of non-fighting age alive. We allowed that. We did not. We did not slaughter the losers. We allowed them to also prosper in their own areas. See how much work Trump is compared to Biden. It's day and night. Yeah, Trump is the best American president. Canada should have voted for Pierre Poilievre. Then there would have been best prime minister. Yeah. I don't know what's going on up there, and it looks like Alberta is looking to leave and possibly become an American territory. Native Americans fought, killed, enslaved each other for hundreds of years. Right. But that's not taught. That's not taught in schools. It was taught when I went to school. I was born in 1975. They didn't make quarters that year. They started making bicentennial quarters. I feel like ripped, but I love America. I promise you do not want to be sleeping in tent over this. No, slavery existed long before the West. The West ended it, right? Y'all effing embarrassing. Seriously, what for what there, Gage? For what? Because what you've been taught and what I've been taught are two different things. Is that why it's embarrassing? What's embarrassing to you about it? What's so embarrassing to you that you feel like you need to say something? And how would you like me to change my life to make it less embarrassing? Can you name one positive impact since Yes, silver, the dropping gas prices, the border being shut, the change in education, the change in healthcare. Absolutely, a lot of things. There has been more white slaves than any other race. Right. Absolutely. That doesn't get talked about. They only teach back as far back as they want to go. They don't go back just another 100 years. And that's what you're supposed to do outside of school. Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, I don't know where you live, brother, but yeah, it's like $3.25 a gallon here. And no, it's embarrassing because you heard something, but even no evidence, dropping gas prices. What are you talking about, dude? I don't know where you live, but look up Georgia gas prices. Trump keeping men out of women's sports, lower inflation. Right, yeah, because you're a liar. I hope you don't believe it. Hope because it's hot. Brother, I don't know what you're talking about. You can very easily jump over into Google and see what the prices were during the Biden administration at this time and now. I had to wait in line to get gas because of gas shortages in the Biden administration. Ended more wars. Gage, there's horrible genocides and crimes against Native Americans by U.S. government is true. The thing is, we weren't alive, right? It's still like 40% within that of last year. Border safety, I haven't heard anything speaking Spanish, which is very good. And how much was gas 3 months ago? 389 is what it got to here. Dig into Mexico's history or England. Anyone else think you're clean? Brother, I respectfully don't think you would have been chosen as a white slave. I don't think I would either, brother. In California, it's 521. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Or the Native American tribe history. They were lower. Your simplest wrong and lying, simplest as your spelling. Could quantum decoherence be the universe's way of concealing pre-causal contradiction within a non-closure architecture of consciousness? It's a theory. It's a theory that we can't really prove. So it's more of a intellectual pursuit rather than something we can actually solve. 369. Yeah, that's true. A Democrat named Jackson ignored SCOTUS and said Cherokee out of Florida. Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Gas isn't up. And listen, and look, brother, look. Price of oil. Okay, so let's go 5 years. All right. So here was the beginning. January 2022. It was January 2022. It was $75. We go into the Biden administration. It jumps all the way up to $120 a barrel. And then now we are at $69 a barrel. So the gas should be around $2.80. So if you're paying much more than that, you need to talk to your state representatives.
The great emancipator and savior.
Hey, yes, he absolutely did. I don't worship Trump. Absolutely not. He said that. And then he also said he would end the war in Ukraine. That didn't happen either. But I'm answering the question that he asked. What got better since 2025? And that's what got better. Down from 428. There's the Trail of Tears. Yep. We could make one of those and faces into Trump. I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna troll everybody by doing that. What's been going on with Iran since the lasting war? We'll see. We should make all 4 of those faces Trump faces. Jesus died for your sins. Spreading the gospel. How are you, Shadow? My poop is self-conscious. It has a brain. You also have no idea what a theory is in the realm of science. You, brother, yes, I absolutely do. You obviously don't. You should look into it. He waited in line for gas until the employee of him said, "Sir, this is Wendy's." Gage, Democrats shut down 60% of the refineries in California. They added a 64-cent tax per gallon. It just went up July 1st. And then put Trump there with a horse. Some of the native tribe leaders sold out their tribes the Trail of Tears. I know Choctaw Chief Greenwood, before he did, he died at a rich mansion. Cowboy hat. The Native Americans were racist. That's why the Europeans eradicated most of them. You might not want to get into that. His entire tribe was sent on the Trail of Tears. He took cash for offers from the U.S. government. Right. They were sold out. Just like that. When you talk about Native Americans, most people don't know how tribalistic they were. They weren't friendly, frolicking people. Yeah, it was all war and bloodshed, just like what was going on in the tribes in Africa. They were tribalistic. That sold his entire tribe out. Yep. The United States of America. USA seems to be religious nut jobs, just like ISIS and the Taliban. You think so? Did Biden start the gas spike, or was it a global pandemic? And also, what caused the price to rise? An absolute worship Trump like a moron. I don't worship Trump like a moron. Jews did 9/11. Ship all it Jews to India already, bro. I'm not Jewish, dude. So history isn't black and white. Right. Money talks. Every time it's a positive thing, you say, yeah, it's a good point. Every time I say it's a negative. No, brother, you're just wrong. I'm tired of being lied to by everybody. I'm telling you what I'm experiencing. I'm showing you the numbers, and you just don't want to agree with it because you have a super hate for the Trump. I don't. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for Trump, okay? But when I see things in my life, in my family's life, in my community's life going better, my investments are up, my 401k's up, my property taxes are down. But the property taxes, it has more to do with my local state, and my state's a purple state. It's red and blue. That's why I'm here. Yeah, no, I just know not to chase shadows and try to follow what's best for my economy and my family's economy. Also, keep natives out your mouth. So now you can't have a conversation. You can't have a conversation about what actually happened when it starts to go in the direction you don't want it to go, even though it's truth. Keep their names out your mouth. That's what you got to say. That's not how a conversation works, brother. On the first day in office, President Biden revoked the permit of Keystone XL pipeline, which critics signaled early hostility to domestic fossil fuels. Humans are humans. I agree. Some Native Americans were cannibals. I agree. What's up? Legalized dreamfish, Colorado river toad, cane toad, Yupoa, Velica, Iboga, Erythroxylus island, coca, peyote, San Pedro, kratom, ayahuasca, cannabis, hemp, magic mushroom, salvia, all holy medicines. What's up, Sherm? It's also true. We also have lied about Eric, the settler's going to falsely made that claim. Nixon unconstitutional wars, cultural genocide rooted in xenophobia, glyphosate kills. There's a couple of tribes that think they might have left cannibals down around Louisiana, East Texas and Louisiana. I never voted, but I still think Trump is the GOAT. Legit cannibals. Proud to be an American. There you go, brother. Columbus wrote about the same thing. Yes, right. Absolutely. It was a very violent experience. And just because when people lose and aren't killed, they come up with stories and narratives to say why they lost, and it's usually to get some sort of pity from those that still surround them. Oregon is trying to make hunting and fishing illegal. Yeah, I know that. What's the phase hypercausal neotodynamics? I don't even know what that is. Does chronometric soul field stop being pre-existent and become retroactively inevitable? I got no idea, brother. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the chronometric soul field is.
Of our union, Abraham Lincoln.
It's totally cannibalism if you swallow.
And the man who built America into a global superpower, Theodore Roosevelt.
They wouldn't make mass-produced food.
These are the men who declared the freedom, and won our freedom, and saved our freedom, and secured our freedom. They were men of action, men of ambition, men of daring, men of destiny, and men of truly great intelligence. Above all, they were great men of history. Tonight, on the threshold of our 25th year, we stand beneath the monument of these heroes, a true group of unbelievable people, and we rededicate ourselves to being a nation as big, bold, noble, and as great as these American giants. And that's not easy to do, but we're going to do it. These men could only have been made in the USA.
So what they try to do, Jim, and they take something out of nature, they find a way to industrialize it, and then they sell it back to you. That's a typical way of doing things. Same thing with lots of medicines and whatnot too. They take things that are out of nature, create a product, and then try to push the education away from natural and take hobbies away and anything that had to do with it. Push more media, push more marketing towards the product, and then try to, that's capitalism. The problem is if there's evil people at the helm, then that's an issue. He got Israel balls on his chin. If buying isn't owning, then piracy isn't stealing. Agreed. Eric Max's new book's bestseller. Thank you, Mike, brother. Thank you, brother. How are you, Justin?
Their faces are engraved on these bluffs, not only because of what they did, but to remind us forever who we are. These heroes exemplify what is timeless, enduring, and eternal about the American character. And in the end, it has always been that character, our distinct and unique identity. It is a truly unique identity, and it'll never change. It's the ultimate source of our strength and the bulwark of our freedom. On this anniversary, we must remember, we have to remember, we can never forget that American liberty has not endured for 250 years merely because of words on paper. Liberty has prevailed here because of the culture and character of the people
sure it won't be
who
today.
declared it,
There's no mail
defended
today.
it, and preserved it. These are very, very special times.
That's been like almost a week.
And this is a very special place. You live in a very special place. Congratulations, everybody. The identity of a nation is the destiny of a nation, and America has a destiny like no other because we are a people like no other. For whatever reason, that's just the way it is. Here, the old world sent its bravest, boldest, and most resilient, its fiercest, most faithful, and freedom-loving. These men and women brought values, traditions, and customs transmitted over the centuries in Britain and stretching back even further to Athens, Jerusalem, and Rome. The United States of America is where the greatest civilization in human history became greater than ever before. On the grounds and granite hills and the rugged plains of this wide-open continent,
You spelled
they
liar
forged
wrong.
a uniquely American
What up, Tony?
character,
Happy Independence
a
Day,
new
brother.
breed of citizen.
Millions of
That's
Christians
you.
mistook Dionysus for Jesus at the
Congratulations.
opening of the Paris Olympics in 2024.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, a lot of Christians ain't so bright.
You're not
that's
that new a
that's for
breed.
sure.
You're a really good breed, but I'm not sure that you're that new a breed.
I don't know. Magam,
Americans
what's up,
did
Courtney?
not bow before a king or a government, but kneeled only before Almighty God.
You got to remember they're humans.
That's right. These were the people who founded our republic. These were the patriots who fought for independence. This was the spirit that demanded freedom. And this was the culture that built America and carved its heroes into Mount Rushmore. For generations, it was understood that the core of patriotic duty of every American was to pass this culture on to our children and to preserve the nation for centuries and centuries to come.
And I heard that because the temperature was so high in Paris that they had to reduce alcohol distribution. Like you could only get 1 or 2 drinks at bars and whatnot because of the temperature. I mean, I can understand that part, but you know, don't fight it, the efficiency of a population drops off at certain temperatures. The efficiency rises in productivity until you hit a certain temperature, and then it starts to drop over those temperatures. Robertson, MAGA all the way, brother. RH, MAGA, Trump 2028. I'm going to run against Trump in 2028. Listen, I don't really think he's going to run in 2028. I think he's a troll. I think he's absolutely just trolling people. And I used to wonder why he did the things he would do, and then I put myself in his shoes, and I was like, all right, let's see. If I was him, I would definitely be doing the same type of trolling. I wouldn't be doing the same type of policy, but I'd be doing the same type of trolling. No matter what you may think of, not think of President Trump, you should still appreciate, respect, honor, support the great country. And I think what's happening, especially all over, and you see it happening on the right and the left. You see like what's going on with Weiner on the left, where he didn't do enough, and then he got kicked out of the Pride parade because he did stuff for the communities he supports and represents, but he didn't do enough, which was weird because the reason that they were yelling at him was because they wanted him to pass federal laws to stop funding, and it's just like it doesn't work like that. One person can't do that. Trump is not going to run in 2028. Yes, he's big trolling. I think he's big trolling too. Brown Christians were upset about the Olympics because they got caught mocking Christianity with paganism. Yeah, that's what I took from it. Absolutely. Now, whether they were trying to represent Dionysus in the spot in the place of Jesus in the Last Supper representation, whether that was Dionysus or not, they were absolutely taking a jab at Christians. Yes, Republicans don't complain when a left president would. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Do you know what the 5 Gospels of Jesus are? I know Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The wall in Mexico paying for it. No wars. Those were lies, and those were things he had done, and no one like a ballroom. Washington Monument, Kennedy Memorial, do the actual job. Yeah, I agree. I also think that now that you don't have a load of people coming through and at the border, slowing down. I mean, I don't even know if they. I know supposedly they slowed down, and then supposedly they got funding again, but Congress gave them funding to do that. But yeah. Happy 4th of July. Now the thing is, the Washington Monument, listen, I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. I used to live in Maryland, so I was in Washington, D.C. a lot. When I worked in the movie industry, so when people came in from other states and other countries and you take them around, it was a trash hole. It absolutely was. Republican, Democrat, atheist, agnostic, Christian, Jew, Muslim, make the place look good. And so I appreciate that. I don't know what he did to Kennedy Memorial. Happy 4th of July, Bob, brother. Trump is a little petty. We all have a little character flaws. I think he's a good man. If not, he's the most deceptive person of all times. Right. I'd like to think I'm pretty good with my discernment. Right. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. There's 4 Gospels. Yeah, that's what Then there's the treason at Lafayette Park, his first term. Shall I continue with these points, and will you lie and deny? What did I lie about? What have I lied about? I have not lied about anything, AJ. I don't know what you're talking about. Listen. I understand. These people are politicians. Do you think he's Jesus? I mean, what are you thinking? Are you thinking he wouldn't do what other people have done? But what benefit have you gotten? What benefit have you gotten from at least your country looking a little nicer? Your gas prices have gone down, even though we're still in a war. Oil prices are lower than the gas prices should be. That's without a doubt. Silver's up, gold's up, Bitcoin's down, but that 401ks are up. S&P 500 just broke a record again. I mean, the economy is doing very, very well. It's the people that don't play along with capitalism that aren't benefiting. You should be able to win no matter who's in the president's seat, no matter who's in the Oval Office. But people get so mad at either Biden's in office or Trump's in office that they stop living to just yell. There's things you can do. Listen, they set up their government their way so that their buddies can benefit. You need to do what's in line with the law, what you can do to benefit also. Yeah, I just think people see it differently. They see it like when Trump says don't take Tylenol, people take Tylenol. It's like, okay, great. At least look into it. Yeah, and I'm not waving. Didn't the power go out at that event for the last box? I don't know. Donald, that's funny. Do you have a fake name? Good name. He got shot in the ear and chose to keep on. He didn't have to take his job. Yeah, I probably would have. I probably would have ducked out. Our tariffs covered it, all of that. The ballroom needed to protect our leaders. And okay, so I kind of agree with you there, Hans. Like I think a lot of people have a problem looking into the future, like understanding that like a lot of people live for the now, and then once you get old enough, you realize, hey, I'm not dead yet, so I got to figure out what's going on for the next 10 or 20 years. I can appreciate that now we have a bomb shelter and whatnot for everybody in the White House to be able to go to. Republican, Democrat, independent, journalist, whatnot. That I can't believe we haven't had one like that. So I understand that. And like I said, having done political ads and whatnot previously, I can understand the want for the ballroom. So I just don't see that as being as negative as people say. All right, let's see. Trump didn't start a war. Iran did. Fools make them out. Tariffs were and are attacks on the people, not a positive, a negative. Okay, and I can agree with you, but I can also agree that there were tariffs levied against us, right? So like India had tariffs against us. Mexico had tariffs against us. And so in order to level the playing field, he made reciprocal tariffs. What you're charging us, we're going to charge you. I don't see that as a negative. All right, hold on one second. I don't see it as a negative. What did I miss here? Okay, let's see. Boom, boom. Trump record tariff collections. According to the Bipartisan Policy Center, U.S. brought in a net worth of $264 billion tariff revenue in 2025. Getting rid of evil is a big job and a worldwide event. 2026 paces. Mid-2026 federal government has already collected over $188 billion in customs duties for the current fiscal year. As a massive 131% increase. Apple announced a $600 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing, advanced supply chain components. Right, that's a positive. Definitely. Meta committed $600 billion by 2028 to build out a U.S.-based artificial intelligence technology, physical infrastructure, and workforce. That's a positive. Inflation is slowed. I don't know where GDP is at. Let's see. Okay. Well, it grew by 2.1%. So that's doing pretty good, I guess. I don't know if you're trying to say 4 or like if you're happy or sad, Tammy. I replied to a poster in the chat. If you see it's on you. The economy is not doing well. Gold being up hedge is like outrageous inflation. Unemployment is at the highest it's been in 3 decades. And job growth is doing well too, brother. Listen, I mean, it's glass half full, glass half empty type thing. Yes, there is. Also, there's a lot of money available for the unemployed while in industry is rebuilt.
I also understand that things have to be done. I don't see that as a negative. Project Stargate, a joint venture between SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, announced 500 billion private investment for specifically in AI infrastructure. Said, thank you, Hans, brother. Can you find a wife in the politics circle? I'm not looking for a wife in the politics circle. I was pregnant in '93. My doctor told me back then not to take Tylenol, so I'm glad I didn't. My son's now an engineer. Yeah, I listen. Politicians ruin our country. Do you think Biden? Listen, I can't stand when people don't. They think that Biden did a better job than Trump. It's not true. It absolutely is not true. At the time, saying just a party room, right? I agree. I only disagree with the tariff on Canada and Taiwan. Everyone else can get it. Just saying Trump is ruining the country makes me feel good. Lives miss the truth of what America really is. Constitutional republic guided by democratic values of liberty, managed rule of law, geared in capitalism. If you know so much, talk about Israel. I know quite a bit. What do you want to talk about Israel about? Why do you want to blame Israel? But then what do you want to do? I want to talk about things that we can have a path. Some people just want to complain, and I understand that. But what's the path? What's the path to change what you think is being influenced by Israel? I just don't like people just be like the Jews. Okay, great. If it's not the Jews, someone else will do what the Jews are doing. It's not that the Jews are doing it, or are you just mad that it's Jews that are doing it? If the Jews have this system that they're able to run all this stuff and make all this money and run music and run everything, if they get kicked out, another group will just take their place and do the same thing. There's got to be policy change. You don't see it as a negative because you're in denial and you're actually a liar. What have I lied about? What have I lied about? Literally, the only bad thing to say bad about Trump is the Epstein debacle, and I didn't vote for him. Hell, I'm not a boomer. Yeah, no. Our country's doing great. Happy 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Boomers said, yeah, I'm not that old yet. Trump is fixing the country. Yeah, 60. Yeah, I'm not even 50. Our country's in the toilet. And what state are you in, Tammy? I mean, I hope you guys understand that the state government affects your life way more than the federal government does. They're supposed to be, the community's supposed to. We'll take a camera outside when probably around 8 o'clock, 4 hours or so, when it gets dark and they start lighting them off. Around 65. Stupid people are allowed to be stupid. It's free entertainment. Do you go buy some bottle rockets? Blast off. What up, Term? They're always crying Trump is ruining everything. They never saw what he's running on. How right, and I think that's a problem too. I had that problem. I had the anti-Trump mindset until I saw the balance sheet, and then I was like, okay, let me work. Let me see what's going on. And people talk about Trump like his presidency is over, like it's over, like he's still got more than 2 years to do anything he said he was going to do. So I mean, we'll see. Hey, welcome back. I remember you from last night, brother, from Zanzibar. Israel's committing war crimes. Then they need to be dealt with. Absolutely. I agree that war criminals need to be dealt with. Free Palestine from Islam. Happy 4th of July. Trump is the only president to release 3.1 million files, 0 from Bush. Right, and that's a thing also. We have these people that are all deceptive about this. If they wanted to destroy Trump, why didn't they destroy Trump? Why didn't they destroy him? I guess we'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow is when the unredacted files come out. It was just as bad when Biden. Right. I mean, like you guys put too much faith in politicians. At least I understand how I can move differently to benefit when a Democrat or a Republican's in office. And I would implore everybody to do that. Epstein donated roughly 139,000, 147,000 Democrats, 18,000 to Republicans. Mr. George, America, have a good day. Thank you, Todd. We're all Americans. State of confusion. I'm going to shoot some bottle rockets out my front door. Tammy's a liberal. Greasy Grace. He can't release the files because all the due process for criminals and victims. Commies wanted to get rid of due process. I'm still trying to figure out the whole Discord thing. I'll get there. Thank you. Oh, no problem. Yeah, I actually work as a side job repairing Bitcoin miners, SHA-256 boards. I mean, I don't know what you want me to know, but I know quite a bit about Bitcoin. Thank you, brother. Liberals make you mad? Yeah, man. I got liberals and conservatives in my neighborhood right here. There's a difference between online and real life. The liberals and the conservatives will be like, you idiot, you voted for the orange man. Well, you wanted to vote for that babbling Kamala. But hey, my daughter's getting off of gymnastics at 6 o'clock. Can you pick her up? Like, that's how real people in real life talk to each other that differ in politics. Not they come up with solutions. How are we as a community going to get through this Biden administration? How are we as a community going to get through this Trump administration? And some people just spend all of their time flattening their own tires. USA flag showed up as the wrong flag. Yeah, I was wondering what that was. Smoke bomb. You might be, Bob. Happy 4th of July, Viper. I'm shooting bottle rockets out the window. People have more information in their hands than history can find facts. Yeah, and it's like people will just lie because they're mad. And Republicans did it when Biden was in office, and Democrats did it now that Trump's in office. So it's just like, and I'm just tired of being lied to. So I just want facts. And when things are going good, I'm going to say things are going good, and I'm going to let my community know how they can benefit by what's going on. Bring back American Goddess, Colombia. What up, Jamie? Why is it all these people want to call out Israel? Well, I've never heard of the 75 years Israel attack, thousands of times, did nothing. Because they don't care. They don't actually care. If they really cared, they would have good conversations about it. Are you sure you're living I'm living in Georgia. I live in the state of Georgia, just south of Atlanta. That's where I live. Yeah. And it's a very different life than what's represented on the internet. And think about how many people are living lives like mine, all that aren't on the internet. It's only people that are mad and want to go somewhere to vent. And you see that on the internet. That's why there's such a negative view on the internet. Spoke out. Thank you, Jim, brother. Bam. Thank you, brother. You ever see the email Elon sent to Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. Happy 4th of July. Thank you, brother. Crying fish. Trump affects women, immigrants, transgenders, rapes victims, hungry children, people who cannot get health care. And answer your question, I am in Florida. I Florida native. I care about the present. Okay, good. Great. So what do we do? What do we do? Do you want me just to hate Trump because you hate him, or do you want to try to find a way out of it? Like, what's the point of hate? You've got to find a way through it. You've got to come up with something constructive, because if you get rid of Trump, the next person might be worse. So why not have a path? Why not start a conversation and say this is what's needed to be done, besides just undo it? Because we were still on a downward trajectory previous to this. That's where we got to this sticking point. I'm texting USA flags. They got that. I don't even know what that is, brother. Stuff show up. They're crazy. Yeah, there you go, Bob. You got it figured out. I see the vigilante justice in our future. Yeah. I mean, and that's a big difference. I tell you what's a huge difference. My union, for the movie industry, they're all Republicans now. Like a lot of them were wishy-washy, leftist Democrat, like independent-ish. But now that they're not getting yelled at as much online for saying that they're Republicans or conservatives, they're now announcing. But a lot of them are still in the closet. But that was a problem with the way that they were treated. When if you said, "Hey, I want something different than Biden," people are like, "You're a Nazi Trump supporter." But now the Democrats are trying to get a actual guy with a Nazi tattoo into office. It's absolutely insanity. I think Elon Musk is the Antichrist. Yeah, you mentioned that. But for what, though? But for what? You see what I'm saying? What for what? What if we get somebody worse? What if Trump's better than the next guy? Then we've got to figure out how to make ourselves better and how to win. These people, these rich people, they win no matter who's in office. We should be able to do that, too. You have rats in your cellar. You're going to talk with them, or what you going to do? I don't have a cellar. I'm on that. Tammy, which party puts little girls' bathroom? Which passes SB 145 in California? It removes sex offenders from that. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. That's so crazy. And that's the. Politics has gotten out of hand, left and right. Absolutely. We need to start talking about a path out. Opened up drug centers past 60,000 years. People can come. Yeah. That's a big problem. And they say it's for safety, but the problem is they're lying. They don't care about safety. They don't care about any of that. What they care about is their buddy owns a needle manufacturing company, and if they can force the government to buy needles, then their buddy's company's stock's going to go up, and then when they get out of office, they'll be able to benefit from that. When Angel's mom was grieving a Congress member last week, Congress lowered her head and smirked on camera. Yeah, they don't care. And that's another big thing. The Democrats, like CNN, they laugh when something goes bad for America. They're Americans, and there's something going on absolutely with absolutely anti-American sentiment, like their retirements aren't tied to the stock market, like they just want to get hurt to be right about that. Reported. Damon Ratz.
Undeniable attempt to change this exceptional character, to beat the American spirit out of us, alienate us from our history, and to make it impossible to even answer the question, what does it mean to be an American? As we march into our 250th year, incredible, beautiful year it will be, we must never forget.
Dude, AJ, I didn't block anybody's replies. If you're talking to me, and I don't know if you're talking to me or not, I didn't block anybody. I didn't block anybody until you said reported. I'm guessing you were talking to me. So if you don't want to have a conversation and you want to report whoever, just go away. Yeah, and if YouTube blocks your message from getting to me, then it's not going to pop up. That plain and simple. And Trump's eyes look more closed every time I see him. I don't look at him a lot.
There is no American freedom without American
Happy
culture.
birthday, Gwen, Rob, baby. How's Canada doing?
And there is no American founding without the American people. Many nations have paper constitutions and legal systems, but the citizens live in fear and squalor. A constitution is only as strong as the people and the culture responsible for upholding it. But as long as we remember who we are, we have to always remember who we are and what we're all about. The United States of America will forever be the land of free men and women. And we will never, ever.
Right. I'm the most middle ground person on the internet, but I'm absolute because the left absolutely has gone very, 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 very. I mean, obviously, there's communists winning primaries now, so it's gone about as far left as you can go, and most people are moderate, but it's gotten very evil. It's gotten very. People will yell at you and call you a Nazi if you want to raise your kids in a freaking normal way, what's ever considered normal way these days. And that's gotten so people have gotten resentful from how they've been treated. And so now you've gotten this huge flow. The freaking movie industry is right wing now. That's insanity. I never thought I would see it. Like I've got people that were doing work to get Kamala Harris, talking about starting fundraisers for either JD Vance or Rubio, whichever way it goes. And that's just crazy. People so something serious has happened. And people that do not know what they really want out of life. They only know what they want changed right now. Like people want Trump gone, but he's already there. He's already there. So what do we do? Why don't we start planning for 2028? And all the conversations are we just need to get rid of, we just get okay, but let's just role play here for a second and say he's going to be until 2028. So what's the plan after that? Because what's going to happen is everybody in the Democratic Party is just planning on getting Trump out in the midterms. And if that doesn't work, there's no plan for 2028. And they've got to start convincing Americans that they have a plan other than get rid of Trump. And that's a big, big, big problem. People that actually have investments and lives want some sort of stability, and it needs to come from their government. And there is no semblance of stability on the left anymore. The left is fractured. Obviously, you've got the Democrats in New York saying they're coming for the Democrats in Washington, D.C., like openly. So that's obvious, and people see that. I'd be very upset if Biden was attacked like Trump was the 3 times all the red, white, and blue Americans, but when you illegally import 20 million people and not share our values. Immigration's good. Immigration's good, but it's got to be done at a pace where everybody can get to know each other. When you import mass amounts of people, they cling together in pools, and they never find out about America. So that's bad. That's bad, because especially if they don't learn the language, it's very difficult for them to find English speaking jobs. And so then what ends up happening is crime ends up becoming a possibility as a way to make money. And even if it's 5%, it's 5% too much. Over Niagara Falls, I'm in Georgia. I'm sure Biden's eyes are closed way more than Trump's. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Remember how high school, when the student council gave away free cupcakes? No. I remember having bake sales. I don't know what's not true. Bake sale, the cupcakes. What American spirituality needs? What do they need? Yeah, they need something, that's for sure. Yeah, jailing political opponents is the primary tactic used by authoritarian leaders, dictators to consolidate power. Right, and it's happened on both sides. It's happened. Biden tried to jail a bunch of people, including Trump, and now. But the way that people see it is they see that there was an attack against Trump, and if they're for Trump, then they're saying you should arrest the people, or at least look against the people. Now, are they being arrested for just what they say, or are they arrested because they have crimes in their past? And that's the thing too. You have people that are saying they're being persecuted by Trump, but if they actually have crimes that deserve persecution, then that's a different ball game. But they poison the well. They tell you at the beginning of the conversation what's going on, which is incorrect, because we don't know the truth. We don't know the truth until a judge hits the gavel and it gets released to us. Trump looks like a robot. Socialists can't tell you what it's like to be an American. I agree. 11 Democrats have separated from the far left. Democrats have essentially started a new party, right? And there looks like Tucker Carlson's starting a party, probably with some of them. Getting Trump out for 2028, that would be a threat to democracy. Right. They don't care about democracy. They care about power, and they surely don't care about us. Bruce Critch said, we love Trump 2028. Socialists like your money, and socialists in a communist society understand it. They're capitalists. They're going to benefit. Their buddies are going to build all of the free hospitals and build all of the free grocery stores and make that money, and then go back to the capitalist states. You can be socialist in a capitalist society, but you can't have a socialist political system in a capitalist society, because it's going to be people outside of that system that are going to be profiting off of it. And they're criminal. We wouldn't allow that, says Bruce. Communists like your money. Yes, I agree. There was one time in American history being a communist was a sin. I don't think the laws have changed. I think they're just open about it. Capitalism likes making money. Right. So the problem isn't capitalism. The problem is evil. People that are willing to hurt you to get more than what you have. Social, I only tell you what's bad about American. No good. Social only. I tell you what's bad about America. Yes, right. That's all you really hear. What's bad about America? Our social programs, our quality of healthcare, our investment structure. It absolutely is very good. The patriotism, the actual people, not the government, the actual people. Like we donate more blood and organs than any other country. We donate more money than any other country. We're very, very helpful. It's people want to pick apart what people do when it doesn't apply to them. But then, like, remember, people loved Trump until he became a Republican. People loved Elon until he became a Republican. So they'll flip on you too. Democrats' policies are soft on crime. Right. That's a problem. And now you see what's going on in like Minnesota and Chicago. You've got they do not have the legal amount of police officers they need. And the crime's now going up. Murder's up 36%. I remember selling everything from candy to pizza and hoagies and sports tickets in school. It was all about capitalism. Yeah, we used to make iron-ons, like photograph what we want, go into the dark room, develop the photographs, make the screens, the silk screens, and then make our own iron-ons and sell too. Yeah. All together. F communist and socialist, capitalist forever. I think it will. Greed, right? Greed's definitely a disease. Slay Christie. Compassionate socialism, compassionate capitalism is a choice. I agree. Only lazy people like socialism. Yeah. I'm the best Fruin boy. There you go.
Fail.
What's great about America is you can be Hamdi Ulukaya, the founder of Chobani. You can take $5 million inheritance, create $1 billion yogurt empire. He's building another factory in New York. And that's also like people that don't try say that it's a problem in America, but it's not difficult. It's not difficult to have a good life in America. It's not. You have, they have people. A lot of people do not understand what sacrifice is. They want everything right now. They don't want to say, well, hey, in 5 years, and that's the big problem, I believe, in our society. They don't charge crimes and judges, let them free. There's no crime. Dun, 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 dun.
So tonight, let us say clearly and proudly what makes Americans so unique and extraordinary. We're going to give our country its identity back. Above all, Americans love freedom. We cherish independence, and we know that we are the heirs to the most beautiful land, the most thrilling story, and the most precious legacy on which the sun has ever shined. In America, we do not need anyone's permission to say what we think and to live as we please, to worship as we choose, or to keep and bear arms. You know that.
History books in high school should focus more on these men and women who build some of the biggest.
And for
right, like so a lot of people, a lot of people that have come through the stream don't believe that there were female millionaires in the 1800s or black female millionaires in the 1800s. They don't believe it was a thing. They believe, well, the blacks didn't get rights until 1960 or whatever. But no, there were absolutely there were black female millionaires, there were white female millionaires, business owners in the 1800s. They do not tell you this stuff because they want to tell you what they want you to believe, so you don't think the social fabric will fall. So you'll think the social fabric will fall apart if you don't vote for them and if they don't make changes. And it's just not true. It's just not true.
Almost 6 years during my presidency, I've saved, almost single-handedly, but working with John and some other great people, we've saved your Second Amendment, and I will continue to do so, I promise. Our rights
Modern
here given to us by the God who made us, and those rights shall not be.
They ignore everything. They ignore everything that they don't want to tell. Everything, and that's a huge problem. We need to change the education system. We need to teach people how to learn, not just how to pass tests and what to learn. We need to teach them how to learn, how to dissect a problem, how to win in life. And it's not that difficult. People first need to know about their health and their mental health. They need to understand that the food that they put into their body is very important, that vitamins and minerals matter more than proteins, fats, and sodium, cholesterol levels. They need to know that vitamin D is one of the most important things you can put in your body, and getting it from sunlight. A lot of this stuff is completely bypassed, and our school meals are atrocious. And then we have all this mental health issue. But are we so naive to believe that there's not mental health issues that come along with vitamin and mineral deficiency? So that absolutely needs to change. But they want to make as much money as possible, so they're going to give kids at school the cheapest food possible with the worst freaking vitamin and mineral profile. Look at the risk Walt Disney took. Right. I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. There you go. Yep.
Infringed. Americans believe in self-reliance. We look at success with envy not, and I say that some people are envious and some people are not. We are not, but with admiration, and we earn it, and we will always earn it, and we will always respect it. We are an incredible, good, kind, and generous people, always ready to help a friend or a neighbor in need. No one has ever given more to charity, ended more hunger, cured more disease, or done more to uplift humanity than Americans, and no country ever will be able to match it. Thank you. So true. Americans honor excellence.
Nothing ventured, nothing
We
gained.
admire boldness. We respect ambition.
He stole from
We are a
charity.
nation of dreamers and believers, warriors and explorers.
Teresa, do we have data on that? What charity he stole from? What's the thing? What does that have to do with civil rights? So theirs was become some rich blacks family. Okay, let's just forget about slavery, endless discrimination. This guy just loves to continue the divide. No, because they're teaching people that they can never succeed because of some government set up program. And that's a horrible way to live. It's a horrible way for children to grow up believing that the whole government's against them. They need to be shown greatness that they can come from and what they can achieve, and learn from the lives of the people that have achieved it. That stuff's got to be stop being that stuff needs to go on to the forefront. Absolutely. Teach them the correct thing about, teach them the absolutes about slavery, though. You only want to go back to the American slave trade. You don't want to go back a few hundred more years when everybody was slaves and everybody was selling slaves. And you definitely don't want to go to the African slave trade, which is still going on. So that really ruffles the feathers. But people have to stop lying to people. The problem is the reparations the reparations setup. We know how it's going to go. It's going to go the same way everything else did. You're going to get a bunch of NGOs that are going to be set up to distribute the reparations money, and then the money's going to disappear, and people are going to get $50 checks. Bam. You should show the Walgreens and Walmart, Home Depots in California locking up razor blades, auto detail towels, pull size, all locked up. When you create the disease, the number falls to zero. That's a huge issue. I agree. The text is I can pick up an Xbox in California. You have to push a button for an employee to grab it for me. Right? Yeah. And I went and got milk today in a dairy that had no employees. I walked in, I grabbed the milk, and I left my money. There was a cash box there. You could open the box and put your money in and take your change. And that's in Georgia. That's in Noonan, Georgia. You walk, you drive up to the country garden farms, and if there's nobody in there because it's the 4th of July, but they're open, and you can go get your raw milk, and you can go get your eggs, you can go get your olive oil or whatever else they've got, and you just put your money in. That kind of world can be everywhere. They just don't want it to be, because there's people profiting off the plexiglass that's covering everything up. There's people profiting off the burglar alarms. There's people profiting off the firearm sales, people to protect themselves. Fear drives that evil industry. I have to push a button for Mach 3 razor blades, car details, Tide laundry detergent. Yeah. It's here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Country Garden Farms. Oops. Right here. This is it right here. So this little freaking shop right here, you pull up, you go in, there's nobody there. Thank you, Hans. Bam. And somebody could go there and walk out with the cash box, and they just don't do it.
Doers and fighters. In every human endeavor, Americans see an unfinished competition What is strong can be made
Chinese were
stronger.
slaves in
What is
America, and the
fast can be
Irish were
made
too. The
faster.
Japanese were
What is great can be
internment
made greater
camps in
than
the
ever
1940s.
before,
All
and that's
seem
what's
doing great
happening
nowadays.
with America.
Right, and that's another thing. That's another thing. Look at everybody else that was enslaved that's now blossoming and blooming and doing great. Why don't we drop the crap and say what's actually going on and then fix the problem? We're problem solvers. The problem is if the people that solve the problem academically want to profit off of that problem, and they don't want to solve it, because if you solve the problem, you go out of business, and that's a big issue. Have you done you have a swimming hole close by? Yeah, like old school swimming hole. Yeah. The steak teacher, the vegan teacher. I'm the nemesis. I'm the carnivore teacher.
Okay. Show us a mountain and we'll just climb it. Show us an ocean and we'll just cross it. Show us a problem and we will just solve it. Show us a task the world calls impossible, and Americans will get it done.
How are
Americans
you,
are strong and always ready to stand
SEAL
firm
Team
for
13.
a good cause. We treasure justice, fairness, family, honesty, and human dignity, unlike societies based on class, clan, or tribe. We see every citizen as an individual, equal under the law and equal under the eyes of the Lord.
Tom Brokaw, Democrat, wrote a book called The Greatest Generation. He talked about the Japanese Americans refusing to declare bankruptcy in America in the 1950s, and they worked with the bank to pay it off. Look up Donald Trump Foundation, New York State. Trump stole the money for his own personal needs. It's the Donald Trump Foundation. I'll have to look into it. I'll take your word for it for right now. Or I can look into it right after this. Just please remind me, Teresa. We'll look into it right after this. Yeah. Okay. Go put on some cutoffs. Go swimming. We hold the truth to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed with their Creator with the certain unalienable rights, among them being the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Amen, brother. I'm from Maryland originally, but I'm in Georgia right now. Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, listen, I don't want you to think that I think Trump's Jesus. I definitely don't think Clinton's Jesus. I definitely don't think Bill Gates is Jesus. And I do not hang out with Trump. I absolutely don't. But I'm not going to hate the man so much that I don't benefit off of what I can see people benefiting off of. That's all I want people to understand, is you don't have to lose because there's hate. You can absolutely say they're winning like this. How do we win like that? And when there's a Democrat next, what are they doing to win? As long as it's not illegal, you could do what they do. You can invest how they invest. There's an app that shows how, what's her name? The Democrat that like made $400 million, Nancy Pelosi, the Nancy Pelosi trading app. So you can trade alongside her. She does better than anyone else in the stock market. So if you had a couple extra $100 here and there, and you could put it right alongside that and grow wealth also and have stuff to do. There's got to be ways to win no matter who's in office, especially if you're in states that have differing like you have states in America that are insulated from what the federal government requests. So I think it's third grade read level. Yeah, there's a lot of I got that. What's up, Martian? Get it done, man. Our minds taking a bird afraid from Iran. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Birdie. Thank you, Kiwi. Who's benefiting currently? Dude, the economy's doing very, very, very well. The stock market, what my movie industry retirement and stuff is doing very, very well. The amount of money that I had in most people's 401ks dipped during the Biden administration, causing people to pull out in fear. But I just let it ride, and then now it readjusted and it is above where it was during that. And fear drives anxious trading. I live in New York State now, but I live in Augusta, Georgia. Only the rich benefit from Trump. So, like, listen, I have a neighbor who's a liberal, and she made sure her grandkids have Trump accounts. I talked to her the other day, and we were talking about how all of these other companies are going to be investing stock into those Trump accounts for kids. So if you could sign up for a Trump account, get your kids $1,000, which should be somewhere near like 50 grand when they're 18. People are not doing it just because Trump's name's attached to it. That is shooting yourself in the foot. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. Do it for your kids. Your kids are going to be around longer than Trump is. Yeah. The middle class is an issue. The poor don't have for the stock market. It's money for the stock market. I understand, but you have to understand that that's fluid. The poor don't always stay poor, and the rich don't always stay rich. You flow throughout life. And usually it's towards the end of your 40s when you start to have money ready for investing. Most people are broke at 40. But also between 40 and 60 is when the poor get rich, except for sports players and whatnot. That's usually in the early 20s. But the poor don't always stay poor. The poor are poor because they're poor right now. Not right. I understand that. I absolutely understand that. But you can't tell people that are doing good right now that America's doing bad when they can look at their own paperwork and see that it's doing good. And listen, when people hurt other people, also there's evil in the world, right? So when you have evil come in and evil boosts itself and the evil along with it, the people that are invested in evil make money. And then the same way when good comes around, the poor need to elevate themselves. What's stopping them from going to trade school or community college? Right. And because the money's available, you can still get student loans and stuff for that. Minimum wage was not meant to be a living wage. Go get a skill that's needed for the 21st century. Many are available. And as stupid as stupid does. Yeah, but this will literally destroy many of the working class. Now, I've been told that. I just can't see how. We will overcome our problems. As America, we build the future of humanity. That's me. What? I'm not the middle class. Me, I'm doing fine, brother. I'm doing fine. This is why I'm saying I don't understand. I understand that there's youth in the middle class that might not be doing right, but I also see people that spend a lot of money on crap. You know, it's like I didn't spend time partying when I was working 4 a.m. to 6 p.m., 4:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Well, I woke up at 4:30. I had to be on set by 6 till 6 p.m. But I worked every day, 6 to 7 days a week, and did what I had to do. And people can do the same thing. I didn't have a leg up. I didn't have money from my parents and whatnot. And I'm surrounded by people like that. The houses around here, you can get houses for $80,000. People can get homes. They can't get the homes they want. Super Orange just says Trump is evil. Yeah, paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, I understand that. But that's not forever. Have you lived through paycheck to paycheck and then succeeded past it? Sometimes people need to understand that their spending habits are also a problem. And that's what I did. Thank God for President Trump. Once these new factories open, stocks are going to skyrocket. Good numbers. Everyone will have a job. Yeah, and I think that was a big mistake that was done in the 90s, sending all the manufacturing overseas. I think it was a huge problem. America thought that all Americans could be managers of the rest of the world. But some people have to work in the coal mines. They just don't have the cognitive capacity to do management. I don't have any dependents. Napple Tube says, Americans are a joke. He says, Americans are a joke. Sorry, I couldn't read. I was homeless a few years. I have firsthand knowledge on this. And homeless people generally do not want housing. They want drugs to be left alone. Right, I agree with that too. Youth are pissed because daddy isn't paying for everything anymore. What I think is happening is you have people that were getting government assistance for so long and they spent it never thinking that it was going to stop. And then when it stopped, they were like, oh man, I could have done so much more with the cash assistance. And they didn't. And I mean, I understand like what it's like to be in those situations. When I had a job at a photo lab in Walmart, Walmart would only give you 33 hours or 31 hours so that you weren't full time. And then you couldn't get health insurance. But you know what they did? They helped you sign up with the government. They helped make sure you wouldn't get enough money so you would still get government assistance. This was in Maryland. Clintonomics. Never mind. I don't understand. But sorry, brother Primal. Sorry, my friend. I guess Bush too. Right. The thing is, people don't understand that low, middle, and high class are fluid. People go throughout low, medium, middle, low class, low middle class, upper middle class, and they flow throughout that. The decisions that they make and the investments that they make change that. But that doesn't usually change until later in your 40s. So people think that they're wrong, and people get mad at themselves for not doing things, and then they blame it on somebody. The grass is always greener. Yeah, just one thing. Just one thing. All of what you say is anecdotal. Yeah, what do you want me to use? What do you want me to use? I have the people that I talk to online all the time. I have my community that I live around, the people that I network with. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, there's a lot of people that aren't on the internet complaining and they're living their lives. You have to understand that that's not part of the conversation that you're hearing. And I mean, you can just tell, look, silver was at $20 last January. S&P 500. Yeah, sure. I'm not saying they don't exist, but if you wrote these people's names down, they change throughout life where they're at in their class. People that are born poor don't always stay poor. They might stay poor for 30 years and then fluctuate through. They might move. Something might happen. They might get a better job. They might get some education later on in life. The poor don't always die poor. It just feels like they do because new people are entering the poor class and leaving the poor class all the time. And we just call them the poor. But people, the humans in those classes, fluctuate throughout. But yeah, absolutely. If you want to do some research, we can do some research. Okay, so let's just look over 5 years. Okay, so that's the S&P 500 over 5 years. So the economy's doing pretty good. Literally bagged ice for 25 cents a bag. I sold pop bottles, collected aluminum cans, and dug snake root. I have no pity for anyone that bitches next or so. I do the same thing. I still do that. I put 2 dumpsters out front of my house every year, and everybody in my community throws away their stuff that they can't take out in normal garbage. And I dumpster dive. I take any aluminum out, any copper, any brass out, and any motorized devices, any computer monitors and stuff that still work, and I donate them, and I take the other stuff to the recycling center to make an extra $100 or $200 here and there, because I understand that this is extra money for free while I'm in my free time. I absolutely understand that people feel rough times. I've been broke. I've been homeless. I'm not anymore. I made dumb decisions as a kid. All right, brother. Take it easy, brother. I was talking to a lefty once, and they were explaining to me that you can't have money unless you steal, rob, cheat. And if you have, that's what you did. Right. And people have that as a mentality. So they won't even try. Why would I get a job? Where are all my scamming at? That's crazy part. That's crazy. Argue with 20-year-olds who spent their entire lives video games because they don't have the lived experience to know people that have had a leg up and squander it. Look at all these ultra rich like actors and actresses that have children that just go completely into the dumpster, right? And it's because they don't want to live that way. That's all right, Hounds, brother. Check oil prices over the last 5 years. Oil prices.
The stock price is unavailable.
All right, there you go. So it was at $75 a barrel 5 years ago, and it's down 8.49% from 5 years ago. So it's doing better. Absolutely. It's cheaper today than it was 5 years ago. And then you know that the freaking gas companies are gouging you. And you have to understand that's too. You have to understand that gas is more expensive in California and New York and Washington, D.C. Or, I mean, I don't know how it is in Washington, D.C., but because the states want more of your money. Let's see. Let's do this. Yeah. Hell yeah. We need to continue to educate the ignorant. Thanks for doing what you do, Rich. No problem, little native mama. Still repeating the same stuff on every channel. You're following them around. What's by? Hey, listen, I think a lot of these people are paid. Like they say a lot of the same talking points and whatnot. And then like they just recycle it, because you have to understand that when we talk about poor people, they don't stay poor. They fluctuate through the low class, lower middle class throughout life. Anyway, that's a problem, because people see poor on the list and they think that those people are the same people throughout the history of the graph, and it's not true. Just not true. There is no room for pride and survival. All right, let's go back here.
In America, we speak English because that is the language of our founding, and for 1,000 years, that has been the language of freedom. An American always wants peace and order, but we will never shrink from danger or threat. We will always fight, 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 and win, win, win. We got to do that. Because this is our culture, this is our character. Not every American is all of these things, but every American knows these are the traits that make our country exceptional, and exceptional it is. You do not have to be born here, but you do have to love what we have built. You must love our country.
You said you supported Joe Biden, don't you remember?
There has never been...
No, I don't support, I definitely don't support Biden, brother. Also, Dodge Ram is around that truck. Doesn't seem like people know what freedom means anymore. I think the problem, Buck, my brother, is people that are very easily controlled emotionally know that they're not free in their own heads. Somebody can control them with a word or a phrase. You're not free. You're not free. If your day's going fine and somebody comes up and says a word or a phrase, or and you lose it, you're not free. You're a prisoner in your own mind. And I think these are the people that need help. They need education. They need medical, actual nutritional help. To first of all, any things that they might be going through, deficiencies and whatnot, can be dealt with, and then education to fix what's been fed to them. Because if you're told you can't win, you won't win. I want my president to be articulate, firm-headed for the American people and know what the Constitution is. I agree. Dirty Donnie. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. I've shoveled cow poop and scrubbed toilets to feed my kid. I've never not seized an opportunity. Why can't more people don't do that? I don't know. Jay says, what a stupid woman. Jim Varney? Yeah. I used to get that. People used to say I look like him a lot. They also don't know what it means to be oppressed. Right. And that's our teachers' fault. That's our education system's fault. They should absolutely teach the truth about oppression rather than what's politically valuable.
Anything like us anywhere on earth, and we are not going
Notice
to
when
let
they complain
anyone
about high prices, they never mention the state's minimum wage. Right.
Yet as we approach this magnificent anniversary, we see our American identity under a renewed attack.
They don't want to know, because if they know that it's their local politicians that are ripping them off, then everything falls apart. And if their identity is arguing, then they won't have a leg to stand on.
A generation after we fought and won the Cold War against the menace of communism, there is now a resurgence of the communist menace in our land, including from newcomers to our country who embrace ideas totally opposed to our way of life and our great success. These are not mere political disagreements like differences over taxes or regulations. Communism is a mortal threat to American liberty. It is the greatest threat to our country, including World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or even 9/11. We're not going to let this happen to us. Believe me, we're not letting it happen. Because communism is the enemy of free people everywhere in the world. Never works. It's the enemy of the Constitution. Above all, it's the enemy of July 4th, 1776. It is the enemy indeed. Even while the radicals and extremists attack our incredible history at every turn, they are silent on the miserable history of communism itself, because it never worked. Thousands of years, if you look at it, under different names, under some...
I think that was a direct shot at New York.
What different ideologies and systems. That system has led to more death and destruction than any system ever tried. It killed 100 million people just in the last century alone.
First, I thought it was stupid to abolish the federal funded school system. Then, right, when I thought the same. Then when you actually look at where the money's actually going and who's actually becoming enriched, and it doesn't benefit the actual schools or the children in the schools, it benefits the managerial, the administration and the management of the administration a lot. And then you get to choose your buddies who write the school books. You get to choose. So you can have buddies that write school books, and you say, I'm going to get your book in every single school. So there's 70 million freaking elementary schools in America. 70 million. Let me see. How many is it? Maybe 70 million schools total. Total number of schools in America. 300 education systems. Okay, I was way off. 135,000 educational institutions in the United States. How many maybe it was 7 million. Now that doesn't make sense either. Maybe it's in each grade there's 7 million. Maybe that's what it is. So I remember here talking about vaccines, and they said if you get a vaccine on the education vaccine mandates, you get 7 million doses per year. So every kid that's entering school, 7 million kids enter the school system each year. I think that's what it was. But yeah, so then if you can get that, you can guarantee a bestseller basically every. So there's 135, and then there's what? There's 12 times 12, so 135,000. 135,000 times 12 years. I mean, that's not even including colleges. 135,000 times 12 is 1.62 million school classes, like grades. And if you could sell a book for first grade, a book for second grade, a book for third grade, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10, you're selling a lot. And then every time it's updated, you get quite a bit. New York leaders. Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about. Unfortunately, most Americans today believe only the government needs to support them, not responsibility. I agree. And that's huge. And our education system is a big part of that. You can't tell kids the system is against them and they will never win, but there's a system to help them inside of that same system. It doesn't make sense logically, but we don't teach things like that. We don't teach kids how to win. And we don't have manufacturing that needs the support of the education system anymore. Cut your hair, you weather underground hippie. I ain't no hippie, Data. Definitely ain't no hippie. You seen this case? Arkansas cop chased a boy yelling a man named George Davis. He's trying to kill me. The body camera turns off. The boy is found hung 45 minutes later. Jeez. What's up, Glenn? Hello from British Columbia, Canada. Happy 4th, brother. Thank you, Glenn, brother. I'm sure he is. Yeah, New York's going nuts. The boy also called his parents and told he's being chased by a cop. Where is that at? Alabama? We just saw something. Arkansas. Jeez. 99,000. It's also a random man named George Davis.
Communism is the exact opposite of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's death, tyranny, and the pursuit of evil. The godless communist morality states that anything is justified to bring about inhuman visions and to really propose what's good. They don't want good. They don't love God, and they don't want God. They don't love religion, and they don't want religion, and they won't have it. But we will not let them win. They have no chance against us. They have no respect for law,
U.S. government is way too big for our own
tradition, or your God.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. We have used our government to try to become a nation of a nationwide babysitting program for every institution and but not itself. So we have funding with no guardrails, we have spending with no guardrails, we got no proper accountability, and when those guardrails dropped, is spending went absolute insanity, and it's still going on. If we didn't have as many people in government and we did more efficient work, we wouldn't need to spend as much money, and we couldn't spend as much money because there wouldn't be as many processes and projects. That we need more local government help. Yeah, Glenn, brother. I worked for the school system for about 20 years, the worst job I ever had. It made me want to beat other people's children, honest engine. Jeez, St. Francis County. We'll look it up right after this, Jim. It's a government shit show. George Davis in the hole and random answers. The random witness doesn't seem to be lying, knows what he saw. Right. We need checks and balances. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is one of the things that made me start looking towards Trump's direction, because people talk about what he's doing, what he's spending, but they built the government that he's doing this in. He doesn't seem to be breaking any rules. And so it's like, well, why didn't they patch this up? And I know why, because they want the purse strings when they're in office. I live in a former communist European country. People at communism with all the secret police and breadlines that got rid of it now being told by young Americans that it wasn't real communism. Right. They'll do it better. They'll do it better with their 5th grade freaking reading abilities. They'll do it better. The federal government is all about controlling what the local government does. Right. That's got to change. That's got to change. The local governments, we need to set up an absolute in-state policing of the state and local governments. And then the federal government should fund that partially for the federal programs. But the absolute hemorrhaging of money that happens all the time, it's got to be, people have to be held accountable. There shouldn't be, like, listen, when I worked when I was like 14 and I worked at McDonald's, if our registers were under and over $4, we had like a stern talking to. But the government can lose 10, 20, 40 billion dollars on homelessness and not, be like, oh, we'll do better next year. He upgraded bread lines. They'll still hand it out faster. Trump supporters are the dumbest people on earth. I thought that same thing too, Angela. Europe is, I just don't think it anymore. Europe is conservative voting. The problem is, I've talked to a lot of people, and the liberal side of the aisle is so much more childish and yelling, like says things like Trump supporters are the dumbest people on earth. They just say childish stuff. Just with no path to get out of the quagmire we're in. They're just children. The government's only job is to protect citizens, period. That's it, nothing else. Right? Yeah, they need to handle our policing and our war. We need our people to parent their damn children. They are crippling the next generation, and adulthood sucks. I agree. The federal funding is how federal government is controlled. Right. But the hemorrhaging of that money not going where it's supposed to be going is the problem, I believe. So, all right, local government control.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the kickoff celebration.
The local government are funded by the federal government, and then their local taxes. So they take their local taxes in, and where there's issues that they could handle from that tax base, and anything else that needs to be done federally, like their local FBI and whatnot, in that local state is paid for by the federal government. and the Federal Highway Administration. Government has never been good at business or running business. Agreed. And you get politicians that never even balance their own checkbook. They get into office and then they just freaking spend like they did, but with more money. And according to the data from the National Center for Health Statistics, 69 to 70% of black children are born to parents who are not legally married. Colby, Jesus died on the cross to save us all for shit. Thank you, Colby. 33 to 38% of black adults who have ever been married experienced a divorce. I can't solve all problems. We need to tighten up the government, and then we need to work on. But we also did black people a disservice, especially by flooding their communities with the current influx of migration. That was freaking evil.
For the Great American State Fair, proudly presented by Freedom 250 and featuring President Donald J. Trump.
Even Jesus would look like Conan with the flies.
To set the stage for tonight's historic program, we invite you to enjoy the spirit and sounds of America, performed live by the President's own United States Marine Band.
Oh, this should be rocking. I read about the fur trade way back in the early 1800s, and they tried it. Look at this freaking guy's get up. This is freaking crazy. Jeez, dude. Black Americans account for roughly 30% of Charlie Kirk. 37% of total incarcerated population in the United States, despite making about 30 to 40% of the overall population. This dude doesn't seem like he's doing his job. I can do that. Look at this. Like, that's probably a well-paying job. 32 to Charlie Kirk. I was wondering what the hell that was. The conductor wears that get up twice a year and he loves it. He loves it. 13 to 14% too much. Sadistic clandestine. Lysergic acid. I used to play saxophone in the, fifth grade? Yeah, fifth grade. Oh, this went on to the next video. I was wondering what was going on here. What up, Gizu? All right, I wanted to see some freaking fireworks or something. What were we supposed to look up next? Jim mentioned George Davis, random witness, something. Where was it? Arkansas case of cop chasing. All right, let's see what we can find here. Yeah, I used to do it. I was a badass. In rock bands, the conductor is replaced by the drummer. That's right. That's right. That's the timekeeper. Over 95% of plastics entering the ocean from rivers comes from 10 rivers in Africa and Asia. What? The only thing I can find about that is from 2021. Michael Davis, you said, right? You said Michael Davis? George Davis. It says Michael Davis, Sergeant Michael Davis. Shelf John Stanley. Let me answer this. Camera traffic stop. June 20th, stop and shooting at Hunter Britton. This is something different. What did you say the guy's name was? Jen. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. George Davis. You said he was fired? Oops, that's the wrong button too. There we go. Royal Police Officer George Davis. You said Arizona, right? Arizona. Jeez, I can't freaking type or spell. Cop fired for shooting. You said he was hung. This is 2017. What's up, Rodolfo? What thoughts on Air Force One's new color? I didn't even see it, brother. Let's see. The new Air Force One. Okay. Yeah, it looks classy. Yeah, I like it better than the big blue fish head thing. And you know what I've also noticed too, now that I argue with conservatives and liberals, is that the nowadays, like last year, the liberals would get more yelly and name cally. Now they seem to do more trying to talk, but they definitely give up sooner, like before we could get to anything solid. Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. Yeah, this blue with the freaking, I don't know. That's just what it reminds me of. Oh, you can't even see that part I'm talking about. Yeah, that blue, like fish heady looking thing. I've never heard that story. Just the parking spot self-defense case. Yeah, I saw that too. I did see that. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see. All right. Military flyovers. Not Jerry. Military flyovers. What has this been over? Oh, it's 4 hours ago. Oh, there we go. The old Air Force One's like 40 years old, no matter what the president is. Yeah, and I agree with that too. Like, anti-Trump or not, I'm going to run in 6 years. So I want a nice new plane that's not 40 years old and probably has freaking listening devices from the freaking the Kennedy administration. I mean, I know it was Kennedy wasn't there, but yeah, I never noticed the bed until now. Yeah. Well, I had the camera over here facing this way before. I got a new monitor I put on this side, so I moved the camera. So I'm facing the wrong direction. Last flyover is like 10:40. Yeah, boy. Earlier. It's freaking pretty amazing stuff. History with this. He was a what's up, Aaron, brother? Austria. My father worked for Johns Hopkins Avery Propulsion Research Laboratory. So he worked with lots of like. Let me grab something real quick. Here, let me grab something.
Maximum afterburner F-18's 2 GE 400 engines combined thrust over 41,000 pounds, burning 60,000 pounds of fuel per hour. As a result, you may notice flight pressure vapors around their aircraft, indicating they are approaching the speed of sound.
F-117 There you go. You need to save that detached retina. You need to attach that something else. Yeah. So that was the flight test crew that he works on. He worked on, the propulsion system. Lefties keep hating on Trump while offering no candidate. And when they do offer one, they get the mic. It's all about increasing taxes, banning everything. My electricity is like $1 kilowatt hour. Jeez. Yeah, so right. I agree. The problem is which moved me right was that nobody had any plans. Listen, when I was young, I didn't think I was going to make it to 21, 27, 35. And then once I lived past 40, I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to live for a while. Past 45, I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to live to at least 50. So now I want to figure out this life stuff. And when I'm like when I'm like, okay, I'm in the movie industry, Democrat, liberal. What are we doing? What are we doing with this? What are we doing with that? You sit down with your people for the finances, like your 401k, your retirement and pension and whatnot. And then they talk about long-term investments, this, that. And then they're like, the people in the finances are Republicans. And I'm like, I don't, I didn't get it at the time. And then now I'm like, but now the thing is, you're progressive when you're young until you get what you want. Then you want to conserve that. So you're progressive until the government changes to the point that you get what you've been fighting for. Then you want to conserve that. But now you're the haves, not the have-nots. You're the haves. So then the government, the progressive government's going to consider you a have, and they're going to find another group to fight for, and you will not be the good ones. You will not be the good guys. So that's a problem. And that's just a natural course of liberalism to conservatism. So it happens. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to donate my money to Bernie Sanders anymore. I'm not going to. And then even if I do, they're just going to hand Kamala the freaking non-prime. They're not going to primary anybody. They're just going to hand her the freaking nomination. And then so that's where most of the people that I worked with left. They were like, what's going on? What's going on? They didn't want her. They wanted either JFK Jr. or Bernie, and they didn't get a chance. So you have all these people that have been working for years to try to get Bernie Sanders elected, and 2 times they gave the nomination to what's her face, Hillary Clinton, and then they gave it to Kamala Harris. So then a lot of people that have been Bernie bros for a lot of years left the party. And then the people that hung on for a while were like, tell me what we're going to do. I'm old now. What are we going to do? What am I going to do with my money? What's my state going to look like in 10 years, 20 years? What about for my kids? And there's no answer from the Democrats. It's just, we'll get rid of Trump, then we'll figure it out. But that's not good enough. It's not good enough for people that live real lives and have bills and real neighbors. It doesn't work. It's Robert Bobbert. There hasn't been a decent left candidate since Truman, maybe JFK. Yeah, new tech. I've been an American independent since I was 17. I'm in my 40s. Yeah, I'm 49. Thadiel, brother. Thadiel. Yeah. Bernie going after billionaires instead of billionaires because he's just doing a new rank. Right. And it's so obvious how much money he's made off of marketing and merchandise. He's making a mint. And like he's paying the people in his stepson. He gave his stepson $800,000. Like what are you doing, dude? So he's a conservative. He's just lying to everybody. He's flying private jets. They're just liars. At least Trump's telling you what he's doing to your face for the most part. And you just can't trust anybody anymore. So the thing is, I'm gonna figure out what's going on, and I'm gonna do the best with what I can. I'm not gonna not get my children and my grandchildren Trump accounts because Trump's name's on it. That's crazy. You're throwing up maybe more than let's see what I heard they could be worth up more than $100,000. What? Let's do this. Trump accounts. If we see the F-47 beta, it has to be determined. Okay, let's see. The American dream starts now. Okay. So they give you $1,000 just for signing up, and people aren't doing it. Bernie Sanders net worth. $2.5 to $3 million. I guarantee it's more than that. He's definitely got more properties. And they're saying that that's from his book. It's his insanely lucrative book and his presidential run. So freaking crazy. Feel the burn, right? Empty chant, right? All right, there's got to be. If you contribute $0, you'll get $15,000 when your kid turns 18. If you contribute $250 a year, your kid will have $51,000 on their 18th birthday. If you contribute $5,000 a year, your kid will almost be a millionaire by their 18th birthday. And that's where it's at now. They're talking about SpaceX and Apple and other large companies also putting money into the Trump accounts. So this is the bare minimum you're throwing away because you can't stand Trump. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like Hunter's art sales. Yeah. 30 years ago, he was fighting for millionaires. Now it's against billionaires and trillionaires. Yeah, he used to say the millionaires and billionaires. The millionaires and billionaires. They're a problem. You see? It sounded good. I was young and broke. It sounded good. It sounded good to a lot of people. Let me see. Let's do this. Let's stay on. Oh, let's watch this for a second. And this is why I appreciate like watching what's going on with the World Cup and everything, and seeing all the foreigners talk about how amazing and clean the country is and how it's got air conditioning and the food's great and everything, and hearing them glaze us over, and it's stuff that we don't appreciate. So I actually do appreciate, considering how much time I spend in Washington D.C., I appreciate him fixing up the monuments and stuff. You talk good New York, Rich. Do a Rothschild calculator from 1862. Okay. Okay, so let's say we'll just do it on 51,000, okay? We'll do it on 51,000. Okay. So current age 18. All right. Annual income. Okay. Let's just say $0. $0. All right. Current Roth balance $51,000. All right. Annual contribution. Let's just say it's nothing. Let's just say it's nothing. All right. They'll have $1.2 million waiting for them for you doing $0. Well, just put $250 in. So that's $250. If you put $250 in a year for your kid from 0 to 18, they'll have $1.2 million, $1.17 million when they retire. Okay, and if you do the full thing, 742,000. Oops. Oh, S&P 500, it's probably more than that. It's 10 to 65. 1.7. Oh, you can't see that. $1.78 million. Almost $2 million. No money for Bernie. The Hornet is the most underrated jet. American arsenal even fills our carriers. Those Europeans went crazy for ranch dressing. Yes, they did. They stole it, smuggled it back too. I'm in my country fighting for 100 heirs. You have $100,000 of wealth cards. You're ultra rich. The highest bracket rate generally repressed. The left government won. Jailed up opposition. Jeez. 25% work for the state. Taxes increased 20% on income. 21 VAT. 30% healthcare, and the prices are double the U.S. What will 1.5 million buy? If you look at the projections, deflation is inevitable. When the gas prices drop back down, deflation will come along with it. So all of the transportation of our goods and airplanes and trucks across the country and everything, those prices will drop. So deflation looks like it's inevitable. And now that if nobody screws it up and America keeps producing its own power, America can stay cheap until a politician screws it up and then says we got to do a new Green New Deal or something and wants to go. Remember, when we went, as closer we got to the Green New Deal, we ended up having more issues. As a Brit, is there anything like this for over here? I do not know, brother. Let's see. British government children investment account. Okay, let's see. British government does not invest money in children. A child trust fund discontinued government scheme between 2002 and 2011. Junior savings account tax free $9,000, but you got to put it in. Yeah, so they did away with it. But yeah, they had it. I can't imagine which has been spent on barbecue a lot. Let's not forget what it realistically worth. Let's say $80,000, but let's not forget it will realistically worth only, let's say, $80,000. But it's free money. It's free money. If you don't put anything in, you're gonna get $16,000. Is that what it said? $15,000. $15,000 if you do nothing except for 5 minutes on an app. Your kid gets $15,000 for nothing. He can buy a car or put down a big down payment on a car just for nothing. You're crazy. No, gas prices aren't going down. Not in California. Nope. No, definitely not. Not going down in California. But let's see where it's at now. So the projections are gas to be at $2.50 by midterms. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. This is the Trump. They're called the Trump accounts. So if you've got a child, you sign up, and the Trump administration or the government puts $1,000 in an account for your child that'll be worth $15,000 at their 18th birthday, and you can put in extra money. If you put in $250 a year for the next 18 years of your child's life, it'll be worth 50 grand when your kid turns 18. If you don't do anything at all, it'll be worth $50,000. If you put in $250 a year, it'll be worth $51,000. And if you and your parents and whatever put in $5,000 a year, which is about $500 a month, it'll be worth $742,000 when your kid turns 18. Gas is cheap in Indiana. The only hitch is you have to be in Indiana. It's free, but not $1.7 million 50 years. That's kind of deceptive. It's free, but not well. So if you take that money and you roll it over into a Roth IRA on his 18th birthday, it will end up being there. Or more. And that's the stock market usually does between 10 and 12%. That Roth IRA averages on 8%. So let's say you do the $250 a year, okay? And you get $51,000. And you don't ever, and your kid in his life, his and her life, their life, never puts a dollar into it ever. Then that's and let's take this up to 11%. Look at that. Look at the difference. $6.88 million. If you get a Trump account for your kid and you put in $250 a year. Did I type the wrong thing? Nope, 51,000. And you put $250 a year, which is about $20 a month in for your kid. And then at 18, they roll it over into a Roth IRA. It could be worth $6.88 million. And that's with your kid not adding any more money for the rest of their life. Yeah, but it's not just any child. They have to be born a certain time. Sounds boomerish. The age 27. The tab is at age 27 at age 18. Click on at age 18. Age 18 is down here. Right. So the kid will be 18 years old when he rolls it over into this. When the kid rolls over at age 18, and then it shows you it grow over here. It shows you the interest compound right here. The interest compound's right up here. So this right here is 65 at the end of the graph. Which tab were you talking about? Here, let me shrink it down a little bit so you can see it better. So this is just a Roth IRA. Well, I'll just do it bigger, doesn't matter. This is a Roth IRA. So if you get the Trump account, and you put nothing in it at all, the kid will get $15,000 on their 18th birthday. If you put $250 a year for 18 years, okay. So let's see. Oh, that's it. That's if it stays till, okay, gotcha. That's so stay. So anyway, if it at age 27, so that means it can stay in there longer. So $6,000. Okay, great. So say 27. But if you leave it in there, at age 55, it's a free $250,000. It's a free $250,000. Yeah, I got you. I see what you're saying, Aztec. Right. So if you get a Trump account and put $0 in it, when your kid turns 55, they'll have a $250,000. If you put $250 a month in for 18 years, they'll have $878,000. If you put $5,000, okay, so let's see, $13 million if you put $5,000 in. Okay, so let's see how old you have to be. Let's see what the deal is. Okay, for every American child born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. Yeah, so and people that hate Trump aren't doing this. They're not doing it. My neighbor, liberal, single mother, liberal, is absolutely doing it because she's not crazy. How much will $250,000 buy in 18 years? It doesn't matter. $250,000, whatever it won't buy, it's still going to knock $250,000 off of the price. You know what I mean? So it doesn't cost you. To do it. In 55 years, rent will be $28,000 a month. We have to get inflation under control first, which only ran rampant since the Trump administration. Sure, yeah, I understand. But my point is, people aren't even doing this for their children and grandchildren because they just hate them. I just think this is what I think the problem is. You should be able to win no matter who's in office. You should be able to win. There are going to be companies that help each president, and there's going to be companies that help Trump, companies that help Biden. You got to know where to move the stuff. And I understand people don't have money, but this is free money. Yeah, imagine having a kid now. It does matter. It's called inflation. Yeah, no, what I'm saying is it doesn't matter. Like, don't not do this because of the inflation. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying don't not invest in your children's future because of inflation. Inflation's going to happen, but also the more manufacturing we have in America, theoretically, the prices of some things should drop, especially when we start becoming an exporter. Then we'll have better deals where it comes with other countries. So everything should level out. We got one of these days we got to look in. I want to actually we'll do some 4th of July stuff, but we'll look into the deflation theory. Domination. Happy 4th of July, brother. I'm Rich. Hi, Rich. What up, Neil? I'm very sad, but I saw you live and got very happy. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Neil. Neil loves Richard. I love the picture, brother. I'm not saying don't do it. Just saying what it is really. Right. But the point is, we don't know. But don't not do it is all I really want to say about it. But what is it going to be? Who knows? Listen, we might have another collapse that resets it, a correction. We had no idea. We got no clue. No, Trump is famous for slapping his name on things he has nothing to do with, even those who hate him are aware of that. It's not like we would throw $250 bill in the trash can. Right. I don't know, brother. Some people would cash it in and get 200s and a 50. Hell, let's trust the dude who made billions off a rug pull game. I mean, it's not him. It's not him. It's not the Trump family accounts for your children. It's a government account. But I understand. I understand the thank you, my favorite profile picture on any social. All right, let's see. What do you mean? Even those of us who hate him, when it's only people who hate him who say that? Yeah, right, yeah. People that don't hate him don't say it. Anson Rubio will be an excellent ticket. Tony Tonino and Sal will does no one. No. I mean, listen, I don't know. I don't know how XRP is gonna do now with the fall of Bitcoin. Bitcoin.
One Bitcoin equals $63,300.42.
Okay, well, it's doing a little better than I thought. What can you say that again, Siamese? Say what? Say what? Bitcoin. Spray the chemtrails. Open the chem. There you go. That's your older. There you go. There you go. Bitcoin is all speculation. XRP is gold back. XRP. Or 4 to 5. I'm saying hate is not the motivating factor. The people are dumb on top of hating them. Expressing yourself more clearly, dumbass. Jeez, guys. Bitcoin would be fine. Bitcoiners are hardened. And then dealing with austerity. No, hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Maintenance crews and support personnel everywhere. From the right, representing your United States Navy and Marine Corps, the 2026 Blue Angels. How old's too old to become a fighter pilot? That's to calm down. Yeah, everybody's all right. Everybody calm down. Oh, calm down. Calm down. Everybody's all right. Everybody's all right. We're watching jet planes. I keep reading the freaking live chat on this stream rather than stream. Yeah, let's look up some F-35s. Earlier today, like the reason I started streaming this early is I was watching the F-35 freaking maneuvering. Did you see the Harrier over top of the new pool, new finished pool at the mall? Let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, okay, where am I at? Boom, boom. Let's see. Yeah, check this out. Oops. Oh, dang it. So Harrier, yeah, 88. Brisket, baked beans, tater salad, watered on, homemade peach ice cream into a plate. France, Paraguay still at 0-0. We'll check it 1 second. Right there with you, Aztec brother. I'd love to see it. When I was a youth, I built the A10 model kit. My brother built the F14, and the F14 had the Delta and adjustable swept wing, right? That was a 14 or 16, 14. Anyway, my brother built that. I built the A10, and I always went. Then the next kits we got when we were a couple years older, that were actually launchable. They used the SD's rocket motors. I had the SR-71 Blackbird. I freaking loved that thing. I remember painting it black and then using like I painted it matte black, and then I used like black nail polish to paint the cones on the ramjets. Thomas Jefferson Memorial. Yeah, Delta's on the F-14 Tomcats. There you go. Sweepable wings. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, boy. All right, what are we looking up? We're looking up the F-35B. Grew up with a warthog poster right next to poster of Kate Upton. Yeah, it sounds like my kind of broom. Okay, where am I at? F-35. Yeah, that's the
F-35.
There you go. That's what That's so freaking awesome. Yeah, yeah. We all got something in common if we go back far enough.
It's fucking crazy.
Agreed. Freaking, I thought it was a Harrier. Okay, let's see. Wow, here's the list for what they're doing. Vertical takeoff and landing VTOL is awesome, but what's the practical use? Mostly taking off aircraft carriers to the middle of the ocean. Yeah. And when you can't get helicopters in for personnel recovery, if you got to get in for where you can't get, you don't have enough too far of a distance to take a helicopter for personnel recovery, you could use a VTOL. Only F-35B hovers and 45A. So no, the A and C don't take off from. I think the C is one of them's carrier only. I can't remember if it's the C or not. All right, let's do this. The difference between the F-35A, B, and C. Okay, A is Air Force, B is Marine, C is Navy. While they share avionics, software, and stealth, they physically and mechanically tailored. F-35A is conventional, CTOL. Okay, key features: 8,000-foot runways. The B is short takeoff, STVOL, and vertical landing. Okay, and C, yeah, C is carrier variant. Yeah, carrier. Yeah. Oh, you can't see what I'm looking at. There you go. Let me shrink this down a little bit too. Okay. The wings have a larger wing area with foldable wing tips for better low-speed handling on the carriers. Carrier landings and improve fuel efficiency. The highest internal fuel capacity, the longest range. The F-35B uses a probe and drogue. Yeah, probe and drogue, if that's what the Navy uses, where the Air Force uses the freaking ticket socket. Refueling, boom receptacle. 7G limit. Also relies on probe. Oh wow, I guess the Marines are using the same fueling as the Navy. The Air Force have their own. There you go. There you go. Okay. All right.
Dragging on the F-35B because it gave, the F-35 the canopy bow.
I hear you, man.
About a canopy bow, right? But like, turns out like everything lands inside that canopy bow. It seems like when you're out there fighting. And I've seen the Marine Corps saying, "Hey, we're actually going to buy more F-35Cs than planned versus the B model." Can you talk to me about maybe the limitations and the differences of the B versus the C and why that?
Yeah, and listen, you're not going to hear me shy away from any of the criticisms about any of those things. I mean, I lived that stuff too. You asked early on, F-16 or F-18. Nobody gets into the F-16 and wishes they had a canopy bow like they did in the Hornet. That thing is awesome. And, obviously even, the Raptor doesn't have a canopy bow, which is great. Still, the view in the Raptor is not as good as the view in the F-16. There's nothing like that. There's just, it better than anyone. That said, you're thinking about the F-35, the different variants.
Mine too.
The B and the
mine
C.
Too.
Obviously,
probably because my father worked
across
on
the
them.
board. All three variants are much more similar than they are different. They're
probably still
pretty much identical in terms of capability. Couple variations.
Hold on.
But the B definitely had some. I wouldn't even call them limitations, but they had some very specific requirements that forced a couple things onto the airplane itself. And if you take the B and the C, the two variants that the Marine Corps flies, and you put them side by side, certainly on paper, you get some great advantage with the C. A ton of gas, some ridiculous amount, 20-something thousand pounds, more than anything else that's out there. You get that big extra wing for that coming aboard the ship, which means it's super efficient up at altitude, bigger payload. And so on paper, you've got these metrics that really make the C a great airplane, which is part of the reason why the Marine Corps has invested and is growing that investment in it to fly off the big deck carrier, which, as an instrument of national defense, man, the big deck carrier is really hard to beat. You want to be part of that. The B, and I'm not parochial, I'm not like parochial to the B. I will say the B has capability when you're looking in a world of like hyper flexibility, being able to operate in very austere places, being able to do things. There's just a demand in the 21st century to have a highly effective 5th-gen stealth platform like the F-35 operate in very non-traditional ways. And that's the niche that the F-35B owns. And you don't want to measure one jet's got more gas, it's got more payload. All true.
He's 6'3.5".
It's where that thing can operate. So there's some offsetting to that. And I am a believer
he wasn't a pilot.
No,
he was an engineer.
In general.
He was a rocket scientist.
The things that make the B unique, there's pros and cons to that. I experienced that. I lived that. The pros vastly outweigh the cons.
He worked on propulsion. He worked on the Patriot missile. He worked on all these jets. He worked with stealth technology. I used to work for this company that did vinyl wrapping, not wrapping. We would do, it was called Breede, B-R-E-D-E, the company that I worked for. And we did like the international auto shows. So we would put, and we would put vinyl on the side of tractor trailers and on signage and do whatever. So he calls me up and says, "Hey, we're applying this stealth vinyl wrap to these helicopters. How do you get the vinyl to not bubble around rivets?" And I had to tell him my technique to make sure he didn't get air around rivets and whatnot. And I'm like, damn, that's freaking cool. So I always wanted to fly stuff. Yeah, so he worked at the Johns Hopkins Avery Propulsion Research Laboratory, APL. And so APL is the East Coast and JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, is the West Coast. So he would always be back and forth. He didn't tell me. He definitely spent a lot of time in the desert. The 10th Mountain Division. It's a good question. Probably who. Let's look it up. Probably who he, because he wasn't military. He was civilian. So here, let's look up the 10th Mountain Division. Army's 10th Mountain Division's light infantry. Deployed headquartered at Fort Drum, New York. Famous for its climb to glory, it specializes in austere combat environments. Originally formed World War II, ski and mountaineering troops. Now operates as a rapid light response. World War II and legacy. Modern deployments. Operation Restore Hope. Operation to Uphold Democracy. Global War on Terror. Maybe he did a little more than he told me. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So like I remember him showing us when they were working on the Patriot missile Scud. Remember the Scud missile, Patriot missile thing? The Patriot missile was built to take out the Scud missile. So he had to develop a missile that was the the chase, not the chase, the target. Damn it, I can't remember what phrase he used, but the missile that acted like the Scud. So they had to make a missile that was like steerable and whatnot that the Patriot would intercept. But it was important to know where at the missile you impacted, where you intercepted it, because you don't want to hit it in the rocket motor. So then he used to say, you don't want to hit it in the rocket motor and then the warhead fall onto an orphanage. That's what he used to say. Anyway, so you have to know where you hit it, but it's destroyed in like nanoseconds. It's like there's no. So he developed this way to on the inside skin of the rocket. He put all these fiber optics, and when metal hits metal, photons are released. So within a few nanoseconds that the impact happens, it transmits that data via fiber optic down to the radio in the ass that would transmit out as the rocket was blowing up. And so he's actually got a patent on that he still gets, like when people use, he still gets licensing money for. Like a close arm. What up, Spot? Happy Independence Day, Papa. But yeah, so it was pretty cool. And when he was on the end of an aircraft carrier where his rocket was launched from, and then there was another aircraft carrier that fired the Patriot missile. And he said that there was so much thrust. It was so much thrust. And when you're standing on the very end of an aircraft carrier that's like the size of a city, that when it pushed off the aircraft carrier to take off, the aircraft carrier actually went like this. That's like a lot of thrust. And the guy, like the video I got to see of him doing that, the guy put like this like really like thrash man, like as they're like and him or whoever the operator was steering the missile through, trying to get away from the Patriot missile, which was automated. So they're trying to outsteer the automation of the Patriot missile. And then whenever the impact happened, if it goes too long, as the Patriot missile starts to run out of fuel, you don't want it falling on an orphanage, so it self-destructs. So the thing was to try to keep his missile going while he had fuel in it. That was really cool. Peach ice cream. All right, let's see what we're doing here. 6 o'clock. All right, maybe we'll take a break from 6 to 8, and then 6 to 8, and then I'll eat some din din, and then there should be some fireworks tonight, so we'll set up a remote cam and go outside for the fireworks, film that. But I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Love y'all. I'll see you guys.